Hey you guys, what's up? It's RockyDust54 here, and welcome to my list for the best films of 2020. Now, this is coming out a little bit late. I'm sorry about that. I was gonna do it earlier, but I'll be honest, I didn't feel like filming it. But I'm filming it now. And a couple things before I get started. I really did want to watch a little more this year because I wanted to watch The Witches and Mank before 2020 was over, but I just didn't have the time. I am going to watch those later, but I can't delay this video any longer. So I'm just going to tell you guys from what I've seen up until this point. And also a couple things is that two of the films in my top 10 are films that were technically released in 2019, but they actually didn't come out in my area until 2020. So I count them 2020 films. Um, and yeah, this is going to be a top 10 list, but there's obviously going to be some honorable mentions. There's going to be more honorable mentions than I think I have put in most years, but there's quite a few good films this year that I really want to be shown here. So let's just get started with the honorable mentions, which are Dead Dicks, Phineas and Ferb Candace Against the Universe, Bill and Ted Face the Music, Bad Boys for Life. It's in this three pack, but it's still in here. Bad Education, The Night Clerk, The King of Staten Island, Onward, and The Hunt. Now for the top 10. One thing I should also say that's really funny is that in my top 10 list, I actually only own one of them physically. That's pretty bad. I should change that. But anyway, coming in at number 10 is Random Acts of Violence. I am so fucking happy for Jay Baruchel. He brings some really, really, really fresh, creative, and innovative ideas to the table, and they really, really work. Like, to see someone in the comedy field who I've admired and respected for a while succeed in something this dark, like especially as dark as this movie is, just fills me with joy. Like, the kills and the scenes of gore are so, so good. The makeup in this movie is amazing. And there's some scenes in here that really give me chills because of how well directed they were. I thought the story was really cool too. I will say I wish this movie was longer. I feel like maybe 80 minutes wasn't enough for the kind of material in here, but I really can't complain. At least we got the movie we did because this movie's really, really good. I think Jay Baruchel has a really good future in directing horror. I think he really has something here. Number 9 is Coffee and Kareem. I thought this was really good, actually. I thought that Ed Helms and Terrence Little Gardenhigh had really, really good chemistry with each other, and they delivered a lot of laughs, especially Terrence Little Gardenhigh. I really hope he gets more roles because I thought he was really, really funny here. Taraji P. Henson was funny as well. I was worried about this coming out actually because Michael I was about to say Michael Stuber, but Michael Dowse, who's the director of this movie, he directed Stuber only like Stuber came out only 9 months before this, so I was really worried about how the quality of this was going to turn out. But this movie was hilarious. I think this one was super, super overhated. Same with The Night Clerk, because The Night Clerk was in my honorable mentions. I think this movie was really, really overhated, and I would highly recommend this if you're into buddy cop films. Coming in at number 8 is Becky. This movie was so awesome. This was one that was a little bit of a divisive film, or divisive, however you pronounce that word. Actually, I'm not quite sure. But I was part of the people that really, really liked it. I love home invasion movies, especially when they're done in just the right way. Lulu Wilson has a career ahead of her. I don't think she's been in anything else before this. Like, if I'm not mistaken, she hasn't been, but if she hasn't, she sure as hell has a career ahead of her. I think she was great here. Kevin James is really great here, I thought. I was thinking when I first saw the trailer for this, I was like, wait, you mean Kevin James as a neo-Nazi? This is going to be really interesting. And he just runs with this role. He was really chilling and he performed really well. Um, I thought Joel McHale was also a standout because in literally everything he's in, whether it be Community or Ted or stuff like that, he always plays a douche in a movie, and I was glad to see him not act like that here. He showed his more dramatic side, which I really liked. The ending was awesome. The gore was just the best. I don't exactly know what this got as a rating in Canada because this came out after the pandemic hit. I think when the theaters were closed. Um, I'd be pretty shocked if this got a 14A though, because this gets really, really graphic at times. But this movie is just absolutely insane. If you love home invasion movies that get really crazy and are really well done, check this one out. Like, don't let the fact that it's Kevin James in a role take you away from it, because as I said, he's really good in this movie, and the movie itself is just such an awesome time. Coming in at number 7 is Uncut Gems. This was definitely one of Adam Sandler's best performances to date. Like, I'm not even an Adam Sandler hater. I really like him. He's one of my favorite actors. But this was definitely one of his best performances. I thought he was really, really good here. It kind of sucks that he got snubbed at the Oscars. Because having Adam Sandler be nominated for an Oscar seems like something they would never ever do. But if they did it, that would be like such a great sight to see. I really thought the direction in this movie was excellent. The Safdie brothers really make you feel so nervous and stressed out all throughout this movie. There's lots of scenes like lots of people are talking at the same time and so much is going on, and it's so stressful, and the score also helps with that. Like, there's so many scenes that don't even need music, yet they have it anyway, which really helps to the stressful factor of some scenes. And I'm not even gonna lie, I had a panic attack after I saw this movie in the theater, like, because the ending to this movie was really, really, you know, really unexpected, and I think that's why it caused such a reaction out of me. I was like, "What? I didn't expect that." And yeah, like, that's the thing. This movie was really, really stressful. Like, I didn't see Good Time in the theater, but I imagine I probably would have felt a lot more stressed if I saw that in the theater. But yeah, like, this was a really stressful movie. But if you can handle that, definitely go check this out. Like, as I said, really good performances, awesome direction, a pretty unexpected ending, which I always love seeing that in films personally. And definitely a little bit of an artsy ending because it has me kind of wondering what it really means. Definitely, like, if you're a kind of an Adam Sandler hater, I would still recommend this because, like, he's actually pretty good in the movie. Like, as I said with Becky, don't let the fact that the one of the main actors in the movie is in it, like, don't let that deter you from watching a really good movie, because this one was definitely a highlight. Coming in at number 6 is The Platform. I thought this was a really, really engaging film that really said something, and it was really fucked up. I love those kinds of movies, though, so that definitely helped in my grade. Um, definitely not for the faint of heart, I think. Like, if you can't handle really disturbing content, I wouldn't watch this. Because there's a few scenes in here that are definitely a little much. I thought the direction was great, and the performances in this movie felt real. Like, I honestly forgot I was watching a movie. Um, I will say I also watched the English dub just for clarification. But yeah, as I said, the I thought the performances were really real. Yeah, I really would definitely recommend this movie. It was my favorite movie of the year for quite a while, and then I saw 5 more movies that I liked more than it. Um, definitely check this out because it really does say something. And as I said, the performances and direction were really, really good. I might recommend watching the original language track though, because I will say the dubbing for some of this is pretty bad, but overall this was a definitely one of the ones that seemed like a lot of people watched when it came out, but not one that was really talked about all that much, which is a shame because I think it definitely deserves a bit more recognition. Coming in at number 5 is Big Time Adolescence. This movie kind of turned out exactly the way I thought it was going to, and I am not at all sad about that. This movie is really well directed. It's really anxiety inducing too. It's similar to the vibes that movies like mid 90s give out, mostly because of the stories of, like, a teenager hanging around somebody older and you just feel like something bad's going to happen. It's one of those kinds of movies. I really can't wait to see what Jason Orley does next, because I thought his direction and his script were really real and honest. Performances all across the board were amazing. Like, Pete Davidson was great here. Between this and The King of Staten Island, he definitely had a good 2020, I would say. I thought he was really believable as his kind of character, and Griffin Gluck was a really good casting choice as the lead. Definitely believable as, like, kind of like a little bit of not like a scared teenager, but if you've seen these types of movies, you know what I mean when I talk about that. John Cryer was really good as the dad, and Machine Gun Kelly was really funny in this movie too, but I just wish there was more of him. Like, that man needs more leading roles, because he's a pretty good actor. If you've seen, like, The Dirt, he's really good in that. I was always invested in the story of this movie. The ending was done really well. But yeah, the direction in this was really just perfect. I would really highly recommend this one. It was one that definitely did not disappoint. It did exactly what it wanted to do in pretty much the best way possible. Definitely go check out Big Time Adolescence if you can watch it. Coming in at number 4 is Impractical Jokers, the movie. I've actually never once seen an episode of the show, and I had not really many expectations going into this. I knew what the concept was, but I wasn't quite sure how well it was going to turn out into a movie, but it was really, really damn funny. I love hidden camera prank movies like Borat, Bad Grandpa, Bruno, and Jackass are in and amongst some of my favorite films of all time, really, some of my favorite comedies. This one really hit the spot, and for only an hour and a half, 92 minutes, they really fit a good amount of laughs in here, and including some that had me drained of energy from laughing. Like, there's one scene in particular that, like, that just had me absolutely dead. Like, there's a lot of cringy humor in this movie because it's like hidden camera stuff, and you're like, oh, no, no, no. Like, there's the scene I'm talking about in question is one where they pretend their car breaks down. That one was the one that really had me like this, that literally had my face looking like a lemon. I was cringing so much. But like a good kind of cringe. If you love hidden camera prank movies, this one definitely won't disappoint. And as I said, I've never seen the show, but I'm pretty compelled to see it now because the pranks in this movie were so, so funny. Coming in at number 3 is the only film in my top 10 that I own physically, and that is 1917. Shout out to Nathan. Thank you for getting this for me for Christmas. As I said, this was one of this and Uncut Gems were the two that were technically 2019, but they didn't come out here till 2020. This was a great war movie. Like, it's filmed as if it was all in one take, and I thought it was directed amazingly. Jeez, it seems like the Oscars were so long ago. I'm pretty sure Sam Mendes won Best Director for this, didn't he? I don't actually remember. It just says, because I knew it won cinematography. I was really glad that Roger Deakins won for the second time in his career, because he finally won for Blade Runner 2049, which was really well deserved. And I was wanting him to win so bad, because he's been nominated like 13 times before that or something, and hadn't 13 or like 10 or 11 or something like that, and he hadn't won a single one, and I was really sad about that because he's amazing at what he does. But yeah, the direction in this was really good. For like, the war scenes were so stressful and really well made. The effects were great. The acting was great. The Like, as I said before, the scenes in this were like really, really stressful and really well done. Like, the fact that this is all in one take really, really adds to the stressful factor of it. And I thought it was a really, really, it's always been like a cool gimmick when it's done, like in movies like Birdman, as well as like a few short films I think have done it, whenever it's done, it's always a really cool concept to see. And in this, I think it actually was very fitting because it really adds to the stressfulness of it. I thought Sam Mendes directed the hell out of this movie. It looks beautiful. It's extremely well made. It's very stressful and sad. Hugely recommended if you haven't seen it. Definitely one of my favorite war movies. I haven't seen that many, but this is definitely a great one. Coming in at number two is The Babysitter Killer Queen. I have not been more happy about a sequel in a while when I found out this was happening. I knew it was happening, and then I remember I think when I saw like a brief like the Netflix screensaver they have when it sometimes shows their upcoming releases. When I found out it was coming out like later on, like I think the week later or something, I was like, oh my god, it's coming out this quick! I didn't even know that. Because in my best movies of 2017 video, the first Babysitter was my number five pick, which is such an amazing movie. Like it gets like this movie and like the original and the sequel get a decent amount of crap, and I'm like, I don't understand it. Like if you go into a movie expecting a really ridiculous, over the top, blood drenched horror comedy, that's what you're gonna get. And both these movies deliver and then some. Like I was so damn happy with how this sequel turned out. The kills were great and so insane, just like in the first one. The comedy's off the charts with how it's written. I was laughing so much. The ending was so well done and made me so damn happy. Like it does a quite a bit of fan service. If you're like a huge fan of the first one, definitely puts in some great fan service in there. I really don't know what else to say other than I really hope they make a third one. I love these movies so, so much. And coming in at number one is Borat's subsequent movie film. I did say with The Babysitter Killer Queen that I hadn't been this excited about a sequel in a long time. That was before the announcement about Borat 2 had been made. Borat is one of my favorite comedies of all time, one of my favorite films of all time. It's amazing, so damn clever and funny. So when I found out a sequel was happening, finally, because nobody expected this to happen, because Sacha Baron Cohen did say that he was probably going to have to retire Borat and Ali G, and I think he said Bruno at one point because the characters were too well known. But he actually incorporated some of that into the movie, so I'm actually glad that he was able to do it. He was still playing Borat, but he was in a disguise during some of the hidden camera stuff, so I thought that actually worked out really well for the movie. This movie was just such legitimate perfection. It was everything 2020 needed. 2020 was a pretty crappy year overall, so the fact that Sacha Baron Cohen gave us something so enjoyable to just make us laugh and get us through the year, I love him for life. The jokes in this movie were so rapid fire and hilarious, and it had me literally screaming 2 minutes in, and it stayed that way all throughout. It did not let up. Sacha Baron Cohen once again as Borat is fantastic, and Maria Bakalova, who played his daughter, was really great too. Like I think this was like her American debut film, and I think she did an amazing job. I really hope to see her in more things. And by the way, the twist in this movie is so comedically perfect. I was like flailing all over the place laughing so much because the twist in this movie is just so perfect. Like I'm really really speechless like as to how great this was. Like I seriously, I'm not even kidding when I say I did not stop laughing during this movie because the jokes were just so damn funny and so constant. And Sacha Baron Cohen just rips into America, and he doesn't know when to stop, and he shouldn't ever have to stop because he just goes to places you know you shouldn't, and he does anyway, and it is so damn funny. Oh God, like I would love to see this get Oscar recognition. I don't think it's going to. I mean, I know the first movie was nominated for adapted screenplay. I just have a feeling maybe it won't get Oscar nominations, but maybe Golden Globe nominations. I hope for sure it gets Golden Globe nominations. If it gets Oscar nominations, great, but I'm not expecting a whole lot. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Like, words cannot express really happy this film made me. Like the fact that we got a sequel to a comedy masterpiece and the sequel was this good, it blows my mind. This is as good as the first movie and at times is better than it. But yeah, guys, that's going to be the end of this video. Subscribe for more content. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Please let me know in the comments below what your favorite films of 2020 were. And remember, you guys, whenever rigging elections, say no to drugs.